It was the darkest night the village of Althea had seen in years. Thick clouds obscured the moon, and a fierce storm battered the wooden huts. Lightning split the sky, revealing terrified faces peeking through curtained windows. Among them was 17-year-old Clara, clutching her Bible to her chest. Her hands trembled as the wind howled like a wild beast outside. Clara lived with her grandmother, Miriam, who was known as the village's prayer warrior. Tonight, even Miriam's unwavering faith seemed to falter as the storm intensified, threatening to tear apart their modest home. Clara whispered, "Grandma, will we be safe?" Miriam's gaze softened, though lines of concern etched her face. "Child, do you remember Psalm 27? The Lord is our light and our salvation. Whom shall we fear?" Clara nodded but remained unconvinced. Her heart raced at every creak of the house and every crash of thunder. It wasn't just the storm outside that troubled her. There were rumors of raiders advancing toward the village. As the night deepened, Clara closed her eyes and prayed, "Lord, if you are my light and salvation, show me. Protect us." The storm subsided by morning, but an eerie stillness hung in the air. The villagers gathered in the town square, their faces pale with worry. News spread quickly. Raiders had been spotted just miles away. They were ruthless, leaving destruction in their wake. "We must fight," declared Jacob, a burly farmer wielding a rusty sword. "If we stand united, we might have a chance." "But they are too many," argued Samuel, the village elder. "We have women and children to protect." Amid the heated debate, Clara stood on the outskirts, unnoticed. Her mind raced with fear and confusion. How could God allow such terror to approach? Wasn't he supposed to be their stronghold? Later that evening, Miriam called Clara to the prayer room. They knelt together, and Miriam began to pray with a fervor that shook Clara to her core. "Lord, you are the stronghold of our lives. We will not fear, though an army besiege us. Deliver us from evil and let our enemies stumble and fall." As Miriam prayed, Clara felt a strange warmth fill the room. A sense of peace began to settle in her heart, though her mind still wrestled with doubt. The next day, Clara ventured into the woods to gather firewood. She needed to clear her head. As she walked, she thought of the stories her grandmother had told her, of David standing before Goliath, of Elijah calling down fire from heaven, of Daniel in the lion's den. Each of them faced overwhelming odds but stood firm because they trusted in God. Lost in thought, Clara almost didn't notice the man sitting on a fallen log. He was cloaked in a weathered robe, his face partially obscured. Startled, she stopped in her tracks. "Don't be afraid," he said, his voice gentle but firm. "You carry a heavy heart." Clara hesitated, then nodded. "Our village is in danger. I don't know what to do." The man smiled faintly. "The Lord is your light and salvation. Do you believe that?" Clara swallowed hard. I want to. But it's hard when danger feels so close." He stood and looked her in the eyes. "Fear is a shadow, and shadows cannot stand before light. Trust in him, and you will see his deliverance." Before she could respond, the man walked away, disappearing into the trees. Clara's heart pounded. Was he an angel? A messenger from God? By nightfall, the raiders reached the outskirts of Althea. The villagers huddled in their homes, their makeshift weapons ready. Miriam continued to pray, her voice unwavering. Clara, however, was torn between fear and the mysterious man's words. As the enemy drew closer, the sound of drums and war cries filled the air. Clara's heart threatened to leap out of her chest. She clutched her Bible, her grandmother's voice echoing in her mind. "The Lord is the stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid?" Suddenly, she felt a surge of boldness. Clara stood and said, "Grandma, we can't just hide. We need to pray together as a village." Miriam's eyes glistened with pride. "Yes, child. Lead them." With trembling hands, Clara stepped outside and rang the village bell. Slowly, the villagers emerged, fear etched on their faces. Clara climbed onto a barrel and raised her voice. "The enemy is near, but so is our God. Psalm 27 says the Lord is our light and salvation. Let us call on him together." The villagers hesitated, but one by one, they knelt. Clara led them in prayer, her voice growing stronger with each word. As the villagers prayed, a thick fog began to roll in, shrouding the village. The raiders, now just at the edge of Althea, found themselves disoriented. Their torches flickered and went out, and confusion spread among them. "What is this sorcery?" one of them shouted. The leader, a grizzled man named Cade, tried to rally his men, but they stumbled and fell, their weapons slipping from their hands. Panic overtook them as the fog thickened, and they began to retreat, believing they were under attack by unseen forces. In the village, Clara and the others remained unaware of what was happening beyond the fog. They continued to pray, their voices united in faith. When the fog lifted by morning, the villagers ventured out cautiously. To their astonishment, they found the raiders' weapons abandoned and footprints leading away from the village. Miriam knelt and wept. "The Lord has delivered us." The village erupted in celebration. Clara, however, retreated to the woods, seeking the man who had encouraged her. She found the fallen log, but no sign of him. As she sat, she opened her Bible to Psalm 27 and read aloud, "Though an army besiege me, my heart will not fear. Though war break out against me, even then I will be confident." For the first time, the words felt real. Clara smiled, tears streaming down her face. The Lord had indeed been their light and salvation. Fear had no power over them. From that day on, Clara became a beacon of faith in Althea. She led prayer meetings, taught the children about God's promises, and reminded everyone of the night when the Lord fought for them. Years later, as Clara sat by the village well, a young girl approached her. "Miss Clara, how did you know God would save us that night?" Clara leaned down and took the girl's hands. "I didn't at first. But I learned that when we trust Him, even in the darkest times, His light shines brighter than our fears. Remember, child, the Lord is our stronghold. We have nothing to fear." The girl smiled and ran off, her laughter echoing through the village. Clara watched her go, her heart full of gratitude. Psalm 27 had become more than words on a page, it was a living testament of God's power and faithfulness. Miriam's wisdom continued to guide Clara, and together they reminded everyone that true courage comes from trusting God, even when the odds seem insurmountable. The once storm-ravaged village flourished with renewed hope and unity, a living testament to the truth of Psalm 27 verses 1-3. Dear viewer, what challenges do you face today? Are there armies of doubt or fear besieging your heart? Remember Clara's story and Psalm 27, "The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear?" Whatever you're going through, God's light is greater than any darkness. Thank you for watching Scriptures in Pictures TV. If Clara's journey inspired you, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to our channel for more captivating, faith-filled stories. Also, tell us in the comments, what's your favorite Bible verse about courage? We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep trusting God, keep standing in faith, and keep letting His light guide your way. See you in the next story on Scriptures in Pictures TV.